Hey, beautiful people, it's Tash here. And I want to first and foremost say sorry for the clickbaity headline, but it is important to me that as many people in my audience see this video as possible. And I really do appreciate you spreading the word and commenting, sharing, letting me know that you have watched this video. And it's a really tough one for me to make, actually, because it's not necessarily that I've been keeping this a secret on purpose, but it's not part of my life that I readily talk about, particularly publicly. If I'm talking to someone one-on-one, I'm very open about it, but it's not something that I've really talked about at scale with my audience. And now it's come to the point in time where I need to, because it is going to significantly impact my ability to be present over the next few months. So for those of you who are unaware, I have a breast implant on one side, and I have had that implant, this particular one, since 2011. I got an implant first in 2010, so before I started my business, and just on one side as a part of a reconstructive process. Now, I had benign fibroadenomas removed when I was in my late teens, and it's just a symmetry thing. It's not, I have not had a mastectomy or anything along those lines. It was a lumpectomy, but I already had some asymmetry, and it really exacerbated that asymmetry. So you don't need to know why I had one bit bigger than the other, but that's all right. Anyway, I had a reconstructive, rebalancing out surgery in 2010, which went terribly and needed to be redone in 2011. And I have had a breast implant since 2011, this particular one. That type of implant, a textured implant, has since been recalled for increased chance of causing breast cancer, ironically. And so actually in 2020, at the very start of the year, I started to make plans to, when we moved back to Australia, have that implant removed and replaced. Since then, of course, COVID happened, and I wasn't able to travel back to Australia to have my implant replaced. And also, in doing some research about getting my implant removed or explanting, I came across some information about a condition called breast implant illness. And going through the information about breast implant illness, the symptoms that it can cause, and some of the struggles that women with breast implants have had, people with breast implants have had over the last few months, and doing all of that research. I've been researching for about a year now. I came to the conclusion several months ago that I'm clearly suffering from breast implant illness, aka silicon poisoning and heavy metal poisoning as well, toxicity. So I have been meeting with a surgeon. I have had some initial testing done, and it looks like I have been significantly impacted by this breast implant. And I must say that in finding out all of this information, the one thing that I have actually felt is complete relief, because one of the things that I have really struggled with has been my health and well-being. And I started gaining weight in 2012, 2013. I put it down to starting my business and being home with the fridge more and maybe being a little bit less active. Some of the other symptoms of breast implant illness are significant decrease in B12 levels, which is something I've really struggled with. And I've had B12 injections and under the tongue stuff and all sorts of things to try and bring my B12 levels up. Chronic fatigue, immune issues, inflammation, liver issues, brain fog, tiredness, hair loss. I don't have too much of that, but I have noticed, a bit of fresh hair and hair loss coming through. Hormonal issues, thyroid issues, you name it. Like, there was a list of 12 things in the initial assessment, and I had 9 of the 12. And then I've since done a more thorough workup with my surgeon, and of the 30 signs of breast implant illness, I have 25. And I have tried to address those over and over and over again for the last 10 years, and just to no avail. I've really struggled with this. And I think a lot of the reason why I've never really put it together actually comes down to a bit of toxic positivity and a bit of that culture of, you know, taking responsibility and, oh, I must be self-sabotaging and all of these sorts of things. So I've really struggled with significant weight gain over the last 10 years. And whenever I would have a particular challenge come up, or I wasn't able to maintain a lifestyle change, or it just wasn't getting results for me, I would put it down to a mindset issue or an energetic issue. There's like resistance, I'm avoiding the male gaze, there's trauma from my past that makes it, I'm keeping it on to be safe and all those sorts of things. And actually my body was just screaming at me, get this toxic bag of heavy metals and poison out of me. And I didn't pay attention to that as much as I wish I had. But anyway, it is what it is. But now that I have had that testing done, my surgeon, normally there is, multiple months wait list, 4 to 5, 6 months waiting list to have an explant surgery. But based on my current situation, my surgeon is actually going to get me in on an urgent emergency explant surgery. So I will share more about the specifics of dates and when I'm out of action in my business and all of those sorts of things. But it does mean that I'll be taking an extended leave of absence from my business. And it will also mean that there'll be some rescheduling and a bunch of changes, particularly for paying clients, students in my programs. And we will be in touch with more detailed information based on your bookings and all of those sorts of things with me as a result of this. I know that my audience are one of the most forgiving and understanding audiences in the world, and I hesitate to think of anyone even in my paying clients or in my extended audience who would be angry at me for taking an extended leave of absence to address this. But I do understand that some people might have some concerns about how they're going to get that support from me while I'm away. And I do have some plans in place just to give myself that boundary time to rest and recover and go through this process, because it is going to be an intensive process. It's a 6 to 8 hour surgery that I will be undergoing. Because it's not just as simple as taking the implant out. I actually need to have an en-bloc capsulectomy, which means that they're removing everything, including the capsule that has grown around the implant and grafted itself to multiple parts of my body. So this is going to be quite a complex surgery. It's going to require a significant recovery period and a significant preparation period as well. So we will be in touch with all of the details of that. But I wanted to put this video up so that when I do send out those emails, for anyone who wants to find out all of this extra detail, I won't write all of this out in an email. I can just direct people over to this video to find out more, and I will share this video far and wide as well, just so that people know why it might seem like I have disappeared for a little while. I am bunkering down on the Gold Coast in Australia to have my surgery and recover from that. So a couple of quick things that I want to touch on. Number one, listen to your body. It's telling you things. And if things aren't adding up, don't be afraid to question and dive deeper and ask more questions. I'm still practicing that one, especially when it comes to medical professionals. I find it's a really interesting dynamic that I have with medical professionals, and it probably has a lot to do with my history and also my mum's history with medical professionals. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Secondly, whilst I do love and appreciate that there are many, many, many people in my audience who have epic healing gifts, powerful advice and wonderful wisdom to share on preparing for, going through and recovering from surgery, I have an amazing team that I have recruited around me to support me through this process, both energetic healing as well as physical, psychological, mindset, all of those sorts of things. So please do not send me unsolicited advice or unrequested healing anything along those lines. I can find that a little energetically overwhelming, and particularly with people giving lots of advice. I find myself saying thanks when what I really want to say is, I didn't ask you, please don't. So I am just going to establish that boundary here and now to please just ask. I'm very comfortable with the support, the advice, the team that I have recruited around me now, and I feel very, very much supported already. And whilst I'm sure you mean very well with your recommendations, I lovingly ask you not to cross that boundary. Thank you. That's so awkward to say. I find it so challenging sometimes, but I think it's an important one to be really clear on. And then finally, if you do have breast implants, please just do a little bit of research on breast implant illness and look out for some of those signs that something might be amiss. They are not designed to be in you forever. They are designed to be replaced. They are a medical device. They are a foreign object. Everyone's journey is very unique. There are people who can have breast implants and never have an issue with them. My GP, who recommended my surgeon to me, had the same implant for 20 something years when she sent me off to have my implant and reconstruction done. So I understand that everyone's journey is different, but if there are any signs that perhaps your body does not respond well to having an implant, please pay attention to those signs. I also just quickly want to recommend a group called Breast Implant Illness Healing and Recovery with Nicole. It's an amazing community. There's over 100,000 people in that community all going through this journey, and it has been really helpful to me. I'll pop a link with this video, and just being able to hear real life stories and also seeing those real life before and afters, especially like people's faces and what's going on for them from a health and wellbeing perspective. It really, really has made such a significant difference to how I feel about going through this. And I'm very excited for the Tash that is going to pop out on the other side of this experience. So that is what's happening in a nutshell. I am happy for you to ask questions and reach out and, private message me. You know who I am and how much I love having conversations with you. So do feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Of course, I might not be the best person to answer. I'm definitely not going to be giving any medical advice. In most cases, if you've got questions, I would recommend that you go and check out that Facebook community, because actually they now are an established not-for-profit organisation. They have an amazing website where you can find information on questions to ask surgeons and all sorts of things over on that website. So I'll link to the Facebook group for you first and foremost, especially if you've got questions about implants and all those sort of things. But if you have questions for me personally, of course, please do reach out. I'm happy to answer your questions. Give me some time to respond. It is a very busy time at the moment as I'm preparing to step away from the business for a little while. But I do want to engage in that conversation with you, because I love and adore every single one of you, and I'm happy to have that conversation. So please do reach out if you've got any questions, and you can of course pop them in comments wherever you're seeing this video. So that's it in a nutshell. Thank you so much for listening along. Thank you so much for your support throughout this time, and thank you for your understanding as I take an extended leave of absence from the business. And yes, please do wish me luck. Send me all your lucky vibes. I'm happy to receive those. If you want to send me medical advice, instead, just send me some lucky vibes and some great vibes for some great outcomes. That would be wonderful. And until next time, thank you so much again, and I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now.